Hey everyone, I'm Stephanie, host and head bookologist here at the Get Literate podcast. I'm a book loving, notebook hoarding reader and writer on a mission to change lives one book and one notebook at a time. On this podcast, we explore the power of bookology. What's that? That's the study of books and reading and notebooks and writing mixed with mindful practices and creativity to create lives we love. Here, you'll find episodes exploring the reading and writing life and how they can make our actual lives better. You'll get book recommendations and notebooking prompts around particular themes, and you'll even hear from authors and special guests who can fuel our reading and writing hearts and help us take inspired action in our own daily practices. So, grab a notebook and your TBR list, and let's get literate. Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of the Get Literate podcast. I'm Stephanie, and I am here with my favorite repeated episode. So, there are a couple of times of year where I repeat an episode. And I don't mean repeat by play the exact episode, but I come back to a concept that's really important to me. One of them is my notebook stack that I talk through at the beginning of every new year. And another one is the one we're talking about today. It is time to create our holiday notebooks. Now, normally I do this episode closer to the Thanksgiving holiday. I have been making holiday notebooks for years, but I've just started talking about them publicly in 2022 when I launched the first episode around my holiday notebook. It got so much buzz. You had so many questions, and so many of us started creating holiday notebooks together that it is definitely one of my favorite holiday traditions. But I realized by waiting to post that episode until closer to the holidays, I was making it more difficult for you to actually create a holiday notebook that could work for you well in advance of those holidays. So, even though it might seem like the traditional holiday season is still a bit away, it is not. The countdown is already on in my mind. One of my sons is already tracking the number of days and weeks until Christmas. Every store I go into already has their Christmas displays starting to come out. And so, even though it is before Halloween, if we get our holiday notebooks together now, we can ensure an even smoother, more organized, more productive, and therefore, hopefully, more joyful and happy holidays filled with white space just for what we want. So, we are going to talk about all things holiday notebooks today. I will make sure to tell you what it is if this is your first episode talking about a holiday notebook with me. I will talk about what you need to create your own. Not much. This is fun. I'll talk about how to create one step by step by step, what you might put inside your holiday notebook, and then I'll invite you to a holiday notebook event inside my Patreon community. So, what is a holiday notebook? It is exactly what it sounds like. It is a separate notebook dedicated to the holidays. And I know some who put their holiday notebook inside their regular notebook or inside their planner or their calendar. But for me, you know me, I've got about 8 or 9 notebooks. I like having a separate notebook for the holiday season, and I start a new one every year. It's really cool to go back in time and see my notebooks and how they have changed over the years. Years ago, I started a holiday notebook because I needed a space to plan presents. I'm going to be honest, that's exactly why the notebook was started. I had 3 little kids, and I needed to keep track of what I thought they would like and what they wanted. And then I also needed to keep track of what I got so that I could, do the mom thing and make sure that things were even and everyone had about the same amount of stuff to open and it wasn't tipped in the favor of one over the other. And the holiday notebook started there. Now, as I realized this notebook was helpful, I carried this notebook everywhere in my purse so that I could jot down things that I remembered in the moment or I bought instantly. I realized that I could jot more things down there too. I started to keep track of the elf on the shelf ideas I wanted to bring my kids. I started to make a list of things I could put in the advent calendar that I create for my kids, which, by the way, is hands down my favorite holiday tradition. I get a big shoe organizer and put it up on the kitchen door, and my kids still make ornaments denoting the days of the month, and I fill it. The night before January 1st, I fill it with teeny tiny wonderful things with a big surprise here or there, and my teenagers still humor me and open them every morning. That could be a fun episode actually to do. But anyway, I started to keep track of the things I was putting in my advent calendar. And then I noticed I was keeping track of the holiday events I saw coming up, and I jot them down on a page. And then I started to jot down presents for other people. I started to jot down recipes I was finding. And I realized over time that my little tiny notebook that fit in my purse, that was originally just to capture presents, which definitely is not the spirit of the holiday, but I'm being honest, that's what it was for. I realized it could be so much more. I could have a separate, dedicated notebook to plan and organize my holiday so that I could find more joy inside it. I wasn't worried about all of those things and keeping them in my head over and over and over again. I got them off of my mind and onto the page so that I could think of how I wanted the holiday to look, how I wanted the holiday to feel, and feel like I had that headspace, that bandwidth, so to speak, in order to do it. So that's what it is. It is a notebook dedicated to all things holiday. It's your holiday headquarters so that you can feel that you are being productive and organized and not missing anything. So that when you had that free time, when you had that family time, you actually enjoyed it, which, right, is the whole idea of the holiday, to enjoy ourselves, to be more connected with family and friends, to give gifts that you know are from the heart, to see people happy, to do those traditions that you want to do. My holiday notebook is a place to plan all of those things. But there's more, of course. Planning does not have to be boring. And while I am not a very artistic planner, I do not have beautiful bullet page spreads at all. I do bring creativity to my holiday notebook. I decorate the cover so it looks very much like the spirit of the holiday for me. I use holiday washi tape. I use colored markers and gel pens that represent holiday colors. I have sticky notes that look like Christmas trees or are red and green. I've got stickers everywhere in that notebook because I want the notebook to be functional, but I also want it to be fun. I want it to bring the holiday spirit to me every single time that I open it. Beyond that, I've also started using my notebook as a memory keeper of sorts, right? There are 5 kinds of notebooking, and I'll put a link in the show notes to the episode that I did previously about those 5 different kinds. But some of those kinds of writing are focused on being productive and helping us feel good in our mind to have all that space available to think. But then another way that we notebook is to archive our memories. And so your holiday notebook can have sections for planning and sections for documenting and celebrating. Jot down what you're grateful for. Jot down those fun things you want to remember for the holidays. Put in a couple of pictures if you print them so that you can remember what your organization did for your family in terms of its enjoyment. A holiday notebook can be whatever you personally need it to be to make this holiday feel the way you want to feel. So now that we are all set on what a holiday notebook is, I'm hoping that you want one. I'm hoping that you already have one, actually, and that you're going to do it again for 2024. But if you don't have one, I am hoping that I convinced you that a holiday notebook is just what you need to feel good, to feel productive, to feel ready to enjoy the holiday. So, what do you need? Well, it's pretty simple. You need a notebook, of course, and you can choose the notebook you want. Do you want a big notebook so that you have a lot of space and you can really put a lot of memories in there? Do you need a notebook that's going to fit into your purse so that when you're out and about in the stores and in the grocery store for your baking sessions, you'll actually have those lists that you need? Do you need something that's hardcover because it's going to travel with you? Do you just need something that looks pretty and is maybe light with a soft cover because it's just going to sit on your desk? You get to pick the holiday notebook you want. I've picked a couple of different ones over the years. It started very, very tiny because I needed to keep it in my purse and hidden away from my young children. But over the years, it has grown and then it's gotten smaller, it's waxed, it's waned. Sometimes it doesn't have lines, sometimes it does. This year, I am using an A5 size craft notebook. So it has like a cardboard color cover, and inside are lightly colored lines. Think of a moleskin cashier notebook. That's similar to what it looks like, although it is not a moleskin. I bought a whole box of these notebooks on Amazon because I love them so much, and I can use them for short-term purposes because they aren't as thick, and so I feel like I'm not wasting a notebook if I'm using a separate notebook for a temporary time in my life like this. So I really, really love those, and I can put the link to the actual notebook that I am using in my show notes as well. So you need a notebook of your choice. Then you just need to gather a few things and perhaps you put them in a pencil pouch or a Ziploc baggie or a shoebox, whatever you want, but you want to have the writing utensils that you love. For me, it's often just a plain old mechanical pencil along with a red and green pen, typically a gel pen, so that I can get a little holiday-ish in there. Maybe it's markers for you, it's Sharpies, it's felt tip pens, it's highlighters, it's just your favorite blue or black pen. You choose, grab the utensils you think you'll need, and then get some bling. I want you to get some bling and make this a special holiday notebook. And by bling, I mean get the stickers. Get yourself some cheap holiday stickers at the dollar store or go splurge at your favorite stationery store. Get the stickers that scream holiday to you, that make you happy when you look at them. We don't want the holidays to be stressed. We want it to be fun. And looking at a notebook that's decorated in exactly what the holidays would look like to you if they were wonderful, that goes a long way. I also recommend that you get some washi tape. I love washi tape. It's like, regular tape, but beautifully decorated. And I will put washi tape on the tops and the bottoms of my pages to make them stand out. Sometimes I will fold the washi tape over on the side to make a pretty tab. And sometimes I just put it anywhere on a page to make an accent and to make things stand out. I'd also recommend some sticky notes. You can get shaped sticky notes that are in the holiday shapes. You can just get red or green or blue, whatever represents the holiday to you, or just get some plain old sticky notes. And then get whatever else works. Last year, I found these like little gem and glitter stickers at the dollar store. And so when you open up my notebook from last year, I just have glitter and raised rhinestone beads that look like shimmering snowballs on a lot of my pages. So when you open it up to plan, which might seem boring and difficult and drudgery, right? You see sparkly things that look like snowballs, or you see a really cute snowman sticker jumping off the page in 3D. It just calms me down. And I think it could help us all feel really good about the planning that we're doing and the time we're taking to make sure the holiday feels really good to us. And then that's it. That's it. You just need a notebook or a section of your notebook, a section of your calendar, if you choose, and some things to write with and some things to get creative with. Once you have those things, you are ready. You are ready. And so the very first thing I want you to do when you are ready is to sit and think in holiday mode. Maybe you put on an ugly Christmas sweater. Maybe you put on your favorite Christmas carols in the background. Maybe you go buy yourself that pumpkin coffee or the gingerbread coffee, or you get yourself one of those frosted sugar cookies, which are my absolute favorite. And just get yourself in the holiday spirit. Sit down with all your stuff and sit down with a couple of extra sheets of paper to reflect. And I want you to brainstorm. I want you to brainstorm all the things that end up stressing you out and getting stuck in your mind during the holiday season. I want you to brain dump it. Just brain dump them all. Is it the gift giving, the present buying, keeping track of it, wrapping presents, sending greeting cards, remembering the traditions, sending out the Christmas cards, making sure that your ornaments are out and organized? I got to clean the house before everyone comes over. I wanted to go see those lights. And what about the volunteering? And oh my gosh, I need teachers' gifts. And what about the baking days? And are we doing that cookie exchange? Or are we not doing that cookie exchange? And when was that party? And when was I supposed to host? All of those things just clog up our mind and make the holiday season stressed. And then we end up getting sick over the holiday season because we have so much on our mind. I want you to dump it. Just dump it. Put the whole list on your paper. And you can do it two ways. You can do it on a separate piece of paper and save your holiday notebook for that proactive planning. Or if you want to do the brain dump in your notebook, I recommend you just do it in the back because it's not going to look very organized. You're just literally dumping it on the page and throwing everything in there. So your choice of if you want to include it or not. And then I want you to just look at your list. Look at your list and see, okay, for me, what's the stuff that stresses me out? What's the stuff I have to remember? What do I have to plan for? What do I have to organize? I bet when you look at your piece of paper, you can see some patterns that come out. Maybe you get out a highlighter and you start highlighting what those patterns are, or maybe you just look. But I want you to look at your brain dumped willy nilly list and see if you can group the things together in a logical way. Are there multiple things on your paper that revolve around gift giving? Are there things on your paper that revolve around not forgetting those traditions? Are there things that revolve around hosting? Are there things that revolve around going places? Is there a miscellaneous section, right? The things you have to remember to buy to make your cookies and have your cookie exchange. This will vary by all of us. It will vary by the holidays that we celebrate and the way we celebrate them. So look at your list and see if you can identify a couple of key categories that you need to have in your notebook. And then just jot them down. Those are the clues that you need to have to create the pages. So now we've got an idea of what we could put in it. I want you to do something else right in the same session. Now that you've dumped that off your mind and you know it is on that piece of paper and it is going to get taken care of, I'm hoping you have a little bit more headspace to breathe and to think. And in that moment, I want you to ask yourself this: how do you want to feel this holiday season? How do you want to feel this holiday season? I learned to ask myself this question from Anna K. Morris, who is a wonderful coach and podcast host. I will put links to her information in the show notes as well. She taught me that we must think about how we want to feel, really in any given season of life, but especially the holidays, regardless of what's going on around us. Because even when everything falls apart, we can still choose and find ways to bring that feeling to life. The outcome might not be the same, but the feeling can be. And I know firsthand that this works because last Thanksgiving did not go as planned. And I called upon this little trick and it really saved the holiday in such a beautiful way. So, how do you want to feel this holiday season? I want you to write about it. Again, maybe it's a separate piece of paper. Maybe you actually have a page in your notebook where you just list or freehand write. How do you want to feel in this season? Calm, happy, healthy without getting sick, joyful, spirited, generous? How do you want to feel? And then you can ask yourself some other questions too. When the holiday's over, what do you want to look back on fondly and know, yep, I nailed that. I made all the cookies I wanted to make this year. I nailed the gift giving. I stopped focusing on the cost and the number of them, and I just got something that was perfect for each person. Or I remember to put the Christmas lights up when I wanted to, and it wasn't as stressful as it was in the past. There was no Griswold family Christmas here. What do you want to look back on fondly? When you ask yourself those questions, how do you want to feel and what do you want to look back on? That gives you clues of the purpose of your holiday notebook. Whatever you just said in answer to those questions, your notebook needs to revolve around those things to make sure you can feel that way and you can look back fondly. You might also throw in two more questions. What is most important to you this year? Right? Lives change, things change, circumstances change. What was important to you last year might not be as important as it is to you this year. Maybe something brand new is important instead. In this moment, what is most important to you? And on the flip side, ask yourself this: what is least important to you, too? What do you not care about this year that maybe you cared about in the past, but your kids are older or your family situation's different? What could you let go of this holiday? That's just as important as asking us what we want to plan and control. So once you've done that, once you have your notebook supplies, you have a clear idea of how you want to feel and how you want the holiday to be, you've got a brain dumped list of all the different things that you know you need to juggle and you want a safe space to do it in, and you have some categories, you are ready to create. That's it. That's all you need. You just need an hour session here to yourself with some holiday music in the background, and your holiday can look really, really good just with a little bit of planning. So, when it is time to sit down and create your notebook, we're going to do a couple of things. Number one, I recommend decorating the cover. Maybe you wrap your notebook with wrapping paper. Michelle, a Get Literate member, she shared this idea, and I did it last year for my 2023 notebook, and I loved it. I just wrapped it in really cool paper, like you used to wrap your textbooks back in the day to protect the cover. I did that. I reinforced it with some tape, and that thing held up to my purse, being shoved in and out, and oh, just pushed everywhere. Coffee stains and baking stains from the recipes in the book. So that's a really great way to decorate. Or you could just get out your stickers, your washi tape. You could write really inspiring holiday quotes to you on the cover. I recommend one of the first things you do is to decorate that cover as a symbol of starting your notebook. Then, what I want you to do is to think about all of the pages you need in your notebook to feel the way you want to feel and look back fondly on the things you want to look back fondly about. You're going to take that list, take those categories we have, and you're going to dedicate a different page of your notebook to each of those things. But here's the trick: I don't want you to start on the first page. I want you to leave that first page blank, because once you have your lists and your titles on all of your pages, you're going to number your notebook. You're going to just jot down the page number in the corners of your notebook so that those pages are easy to find when you need them. And so you need that blank page at the front for a table of contents. So once you have your lists your pages. Once you have those page numbers, you can go back to the front of your book and make a really fun holiday table of contents and list down everything you have on each page. This is a hack for not getting stressed about which list to make and which order to put them in, because I know all of you are thinking about that, or some of you are thinking about that. Which list and which order, and what if I want to change the order? It doesn't matter. As long as you have a table of contents, you can find it. So you may have started your notebook with a couple of pages to track what you wanted to give people. And if you ran out of pages, that is fine. You just go to the next available page and you continue it and you update your table of contents so you can find it, right? Our notebook should be working for us, not the other way around. So I want to share a couple, not a couple, I want to share a bunch of notebook lists and notebook pages that you might want to put in your holiday notebook. Now, again, all of these are not for everybody. Your lists, your pages should come from how you want to feel and what you want to look back on fondly and what's swirling around in your head that you want to put on the page. Here are a bunch of ideas, though, and these are some of mine, and they're also crowdsourced from my Get Literate community when we met in our live holiday notebook session last year. So here are some lists. Gift ideas for others. Gifts purchased for others. Oh gosh, I've needed this one. I have lost a lot of gifts over the years. A page for online order tracking. What did you order online? And did it come yet? Did I hide that yet? Yep, lost presents that way too. Which brings me to my next bullet, where I hid the gifts. When you have kids, you have to get creative, and sometimes you can forget, right? I'm thinking of that Christmas Vacation movie again, where he finds an old Mother's Day gift in the attic when he's stuck there in his Christmas jammies. That has been me. Okay, so gift ideas for others, gifts purchased for others, online order tracking, and where I hid the gifts. I also have a page for advent calendar ideas. I already talked about my advent calendar. If you don't have an advent calendar, you skip it. Elf on the shelf ideas. Yes, I still do this with my kids. It's not nearly as elaborate as it was in the past, but I do still enjoy hiding that elf and having that elf do some silly things. Another page could be places to go. Do you want to visit that light show? Do you want to just drive around with hot chocolate and look at the lights in your neighborhood? Do you go volunteer at a soup kitchen? Are there holiday craft shows? Are there events you want to go to? Another page, dates to keep track of, right? So, where do you have to go this season? Where do you want to go? What are those dates? You don't want to misplace some of those holiday events that come up. Next one, holiday bucket list. How do you want to feel? What do you want to look back on fondly? You need a bucket list in order to get there. Another one, recipes to make. Which recipes do you always make every year that you want to jot down? What are some new ones that you're finding that you could put on the list? Related, you need a page for your grocery list and your baking list. I have one for Thanksgiving, one for Christmas, and then separate ones for baking. That comes in handy when you don't have to stand in the grocery store and pull up the recipes on your phone to make sure you have everything, which is what used to happen to me. Now you just bring your notebook with you and you've already updated it with what you need based on what you make, and you can go to the grocery store with that list. Now, I have another bullet, which is holiday movies to watch. I love Christmas movies. I love my Hallmark Channel too, of course, but there are always some favorites I like to watch as a family. Next one, holiday books to read. There's just something magical about a holiday reading season, isn't there? And I love rereading the favorites that I have read before, which I'll have an episode on those coming up. I also love to get my hands on the new holiday books. And by the way, Jenny Colgan has a new one coming out on December 1st that I've already pre-ordered and I cannot wait. It's about books. What could be better than Jenny Colgan writing a book about books again for the holiday season? Now, another list could be if you send Christmas cards, you might have a list of all of the people you want to send cards to. You may throw a couple of addresses in there. Maybe you have the dates in there. Buy the cards by this day. Don't forget your stamps. Mail the cards by this day. Another page could be Christmas decoration ideas, inside and outside. Here's the next one. Pinterest ideas to try. Now, here's what I usually do. I browse Pinterest. I love all the things. I save the things on my own boards, and I never do those things ever. I don't even go back and look at the Pinterest board. But if it's in my holiday notebook, I remember it. I forget things I don't see. I just do. And so if I put these beautiful things in my Pinterest boards, if I don't remember they're there, it doesn't help my holiday feel any more special. So you could put a page in your notebook of the ideas that you want to try that you've seen on Pinterest, that you've seen on social media. The next one isn't so fun, but it is needed, and that is your holiday budget. Maybe have a reminder of your spending limits, of what you're spending where. That is a very important thing to keep track of. Next up are holiday activities, things you do inside your home, like the gingerbread houses or the holiday decorating, or switch out the candles to be the holiday flavors. Flavors isn't the right word, holiday scents. Now, another list could be around Christmas memories, right? Maybe you just take time to sit there and flood yourself with the beautiful memories of Christmas past, and you leave them in your notebook to remind yourself that you want to recreate them or at least embody the spirit of them. This next one, also not very fun, but it's needed, and that's the house cleaning list. What has to get done before all the people come over? What has to get done before you switch your holiday decorations? I hate this one, but it is important. I love this next one though. Holiday acts of kindness. What could you do this holiday season to pay it forward to someone else? Buy that cup of coffee for the person behind you in line. Send a $5 digital gift card to Starbucks or Dunkin' for a virtual friend, right? Just text someone how much they mean to you over this season. It might seem awkward to create a list of kindness, but sometimes you need that list to remind you that this is the person you want to be and these are the things that you want to do. Another page could be your traditions that you have, both old and new, that you don't want to forget. And lastly, another one of my favorites are holiday quotes and affirmations. You know, I love quotes, I collect them often. I love putting a little collection of holiday quotes either in a page of my notebook or scattered throughout my notebook. And I also love some holiday affirmations to remind me how I want to feel and what I want to look back on fondly. When the days get stressful, when something has gone wrong, when it feels like the holidays aren't supposed to feel like this, I just go to those quotes. I go to those affirmations, and it pretty much helps every time. So I'm hoping that you have a list of ideas that you could bring to your notebook that are making you feel like you would be more productive than you were in the past and are just helping you get excited about the possibilities. I've got a whole list of these pages that you'll find inside my Patreon community, and we are having our annual live event. So, in about a week, on November 3rd at 7 p.m. Eastern Time, we are getting together inside my community on a live Zoom call to have a little bit of holiday fun and start our notebooks. So, the only thing you need is to get your notebook and your supplies, and that's it. We will spend some time creating pages together. If you don't have your notebook in time, that's okay. You can come also and just start making a list of the things that you would want and get inspired by the people who are creating and chatting at the same time. Or maybe you're not ready quite yet. That's okay too. You can join my Get Literate Patreon community, and when you are ready, you can carve out an hour for yourself, play the replay, and do it along with us as if you are actually there. I find having that hour dedicated time is what some people need to launch themselves into this holiday notebook habit. And it's just fun. It's fun. There's Christmas music playing in the background. We usually bring our favorite beverage to make it fun and conversational. And there will be some book and notebook giveaways this year for those of us that come live. Why? Because this is one of my favorite live sessions that I do. And it's a great way to start kicking off that holiday spirit by giving bookish things away. So I can't wait for it. So if you're listening in real time, you've got about a week to get your stuff together and join us on November 3rd. If you're listening after November 3rd, that's okay. Get your supplies, set a date on your calendar when you will watch the replay, and you can join us after the fact, and it will probably still feel like you are just there. All right, everyone. That is my favorite holiday episode wrapped up. I hope that you are looking forward to the holiday season. I hope that you are looking forward to creating your holiday notebook. And of course, I hope that you join us inside my Patreon community to create one for yourself. You can find the link to that in the show notes, along with all of the other links that I said I would include there. Or you can head to getliterate.co, and that'll take you right to the Patreon page to sign up. It's $5 a month, and you get so much. We have a one-word theme every month. You get the book calendar every month. You get a bonus episode every month, and you get to participate in live events like this. So thank you so much for listening to this special holiday notebook episode. I can't wait to see what you do with your holiday notebook and join together for a fun Zoom session to create our own. Thanks for listening, everyone, and happy notebook creating. Thanks for listening to today's episode of the Get Literate podcast. You'll find links to all the books, resources, and ideas mentioned in the show notes and at alitlife.com. And if you want more, you might like to join my Patreon community. There, you'll find additional inspiration for your reading and writing life, like bonus podcast episodes, book calendars, monthly book clubs, notebooking inspiration, live events, giveaways, and more. It's only $5 a month, and you get instant access to all of the previous content too. Learn more at getliterate.co. And one more thing, if you love what you listened to today, please take a moment to rate and review the podcast, or take a screenshot of the episode and text it to a friend. This helps the podcast grow, and it builds our bookish and notebookish community too. Thanks for listening.